Hey y'all, Katie here with Team Evo AZ at eXp Realty in the Phoenix, Arizona area. Welcome to our show, Real Estate Fitness, where we keep your real estate muscle strong by sharing tips and tricks to help you navigate the real estate world. Enjoy the show. Hey everyone, it's Real Estate Katie, and I am back with another episode of Real Estate Fitness. And today we're going to talk about something that I actually talk with many clients quite often. We work with a lot of families in Team Evo AZ, and I work with a lot of moms that are either about to start a family or they have small children. And we talk about the things that they should be looking for in their next home, specifically because they are a young family with young children. So I have a couple of things to share with you here. And the biggest thing that we talk about that I feel like not a lot of people think about, at least I have never overheard another conversation with one of my competitors, or have ever even heard from a client that they have had this conversation with another realtor or have received this advice before. And I'm really kind of surprised. But when we're shopping with families, we have a very frank discussion about backing major roads. Now, it does impact your the saleability of the properties. So in most cases, so you can typically get the property for a little bit less than the same exact house on an interior street. But there are some things that you really need to think about, especially when you are a family with young kiddos. Now, it can be noisy depending on where you're at. We're here in Phoenix, Arizona. So in many areas of the city, in the outskirts and the suburbs as well, these roads are really busy. They could be 6-lane roads. And so think about the super loud motorcycle guy that is going to go by at whatever hour, could be during the day or at night when your kiddo's trying to get some sleep. And we all know as moms, as parents, how important nap time and bedtime is, right? So think about that. Think about the big trucks that might be going by, that sort of thing. So noise is definitely an issue. There's also a safety issue. One of my properties, and this was purchased prior to me ever even thinking I was going to be a mom, but one of my properties does back a secondary road. It's not really a major road, but it is a 4-lane, I want to say. Yeah, it's probably a 4-lane. It's been a while since I've been there. But when we lived there, my husband and I lived there for about 8 months when we had our baby, before we upgraded our home and moved. We had just had him and we were sitting in the kitchen, and all of a sudden I heard something shatter in the backyard. And sure enough, somebody had thrown a beer bottle, must have come from a vehicle, is my assumption, into our backyard. Now, do I think that they did that on purpose? Well, they knew they were throwing the bottle out. I don't know if they were purposely targeting my backyard. I never found out who it was, but it ended up in my backyard. Now, if I didn't hear it, if I wasn't home, if I didn't know that that had happened, now all of a sudden I have this shattered beer bottle in my backyard. I come in, maybe I let my kiddo out to go play. Maybe I let my dog out to go to the bathroom, and all of a sudden they're out there with this shattered bottle. Not to mention if somebody was back there, that could have hit them and could have really hurt them. Another sort of safety aspect of this is had a mom a couple of years ago, bless her heart. This happens to all of us. She felt so guilty after, but again, happens to all of us, or the best of us, I should say. She went to use the restroom quickly. She had 2 very rambunctious young children. They ended up getting outside and ran down the street, like in a matter of minutes when she's using the restroom. So it could be dangerous if you are close to a main road like that. Obviously, it's dangerous anyway, but it could be more dangerous if you're close to a main road and the kiddo can just kind of whoop right out onto the street behind you. Either, maybe you're close to the entrance of your community or what have you. It's a lot closer for them to get into the street than if you were in an interior lot a bit further away. So something to think about. Pool fences, super huge, guys. You want to make sure when you have little kids, if you've got a home, if you're looking at purchasing a home with a pool, you want to make sure that that pool fence is there. You can even ask if it's not, you can even ask, this could be part of your negotiations. We negotiate a lot for our buyers on Team Evo AZ, so it would be part of my negotiations to get that pool fence installed. If there isn't already one, you may be able to get the seller to pay for that. Or if you don't have a pool fence, you really love the house and you want to go after it, seller's not willing to install the pool fence for you, you want to make sure that you have that in your budget so that gets up immediately. I can't stress it enough how much you guys really need to focus on having a pool fence with little kiddos. The third thing that I always suggest to most everybody, but also specifically to families, is getting a mold inspection. Now, there are some people out there that will tell you mold does not exist in Arizona. I can assure you it does. In fact, in my own home, this is an absolute true story. When we were in our inspection period for our current home, I just got this feeling that I didn't have any indication, no real, nothing really looked damaged or anything like that. So I didn't have any, indication of big water damage or big issues. I just had this gut feeling, let's get a mold test. And sure enough, there was mold in a portion of my home that we ended up having the seller remediate before we even moved in. Imagine moving in and then all of a sudden kiddos getting sick. The mold was near where my child's bedroom is. So then dealing with the remediation after the fact is a lot harder than getting it done before you move in. And nobody wants to live with mold. You can get very, very sick, and your kiddos can too. Another thing that I always suggest to my families to keep an eye on, especially if they are newer parents and maybe their kiddos are just babies and they haven't quite put any thought into this yet, is to make sure that you're in an area that you like the schools that are in the area. Yes, in Arizona, we do have flexibility with schools. And so you can, get a boundary exemption and you can go to other schools. You just got to jump through a couple of hoops. But think about how that impacts you in terms of travel and the amount of time that you are in the car. So you're going to have cost associated with that. If you drive a vehicle that uses gas, then you've got gas prices are right now at the time of this video are pretty high here in Arizona. So you've got that, you've got the amount of time that you're in the vehicle, and then you're in the vehicle. So any time that we're in the vehicle, there is an opportunity for us to, knock on wood, hope this never happens to you, but there is an opportunity for us to get into a car accident, right? So the more we're in the vehicle, the longer that we're in the vehicle, the more of a window of opportunity we have to unfortunately get into a car accident. And we've all seen them. We see them every day out there. So please be safe, be careful driving. But that is something that I always advise to my families so that they don't have to be in the vehicle for longer than they have to for a variety of reasons. Another thing that we talk about is finding a family-friendly community. Maybe it has a park or a splash pad that's right there, right in the interior of the community, part of the neighborhood, right? It makes it so much easier. I can remember my kiddo is just about 10 now, but I can remember being a new mom and it's just very overwhelming. You have to bring everything but the kitchen sink whenever you go anywhere. And it's just when we moved to a neighborhood that was a little bit more family friendly than the initial neighborhood that we lived in. And there was a large park in my community. So it was easy to just take my little out on a quick walk over to the park, let them burn some energy, get a little quiet time for mama. And that was a lifesaver most days. So definitely make sure that you are close to something like that so that you can get your kiddo out and it's cost effective and they can burn some energy off and you can get the break that you deserve. Really. I mean, all of us mamas do. And to speak to that and kind of piggyback on that a little bit, I think it's important, depending on what you do, what you like to do. Maybe you like to go to the lake, or maybe you like to hike, or, maybe you just really love to bowl. So you want to be close to a fat cat. Think about where you are in proximity to these places that you like to frequent with your family. Experiences are everything. Personally, I feel that way. I love creating memories with my family, and having it a little bit more accessible and easy to get to simply means that you're going to do it more. So keep an eye on that.
Back to the house, energy efficiency, really big, huge, guys. This is where your inspection is really going to come in so that you know what you're getting into, you know what to budget for, so that you can keep your home running in a cost-effective way and in a very comfortable way. So inspector, getting the right inspector, getting a very good inspector is really big here. If you have a great agent, they have a great inspector, I'm sure, especially if they've been around for as long as I have, they're going to have maybe more than one great inspector because it's so important to have. So definitely ask for referrals. You're going to be wanting to look at things like insulation level. Is it appropriate? Is it in all the right places? Do we need to get more? Ask the seller to help you out with that when you're negotiating. You're going to want to look at windows. Do we have the single pane aluminum frame windows here, which might not be as energy efficient? Actually, they're not as double or triple pane with the low E. Trying to find my words here, but you guys know what I'm talking about. The energy efficient windows that we have nowadays versus what they were putting into our homes in the 80s. So definitely take a look at that. If it has solar, maybe it has a solar water heater, and maybe it has a solar system for the entire house. That's awesome. That's going to help you remain cost effective and energy efficient. Also, your AC unit, is it running in tip-top shape? Is it an updated unit, or is it super old, and is it really sucking that energy in order to run? We did an episode on another show that I'm on called Make Dollars Make Sense. We did an episode on how to get some utility costs down by looking into the programs that your utility company offers. And I've got that linked here in the show notes. So you guys could check that show out and get some cost savings there through your utility company, hopefully. And then the last and very obvious thing that we always talk about is make sure you have enough space for your family. So maybe you're not done adding to your family yet. And if you're looking at upgrading your home and you want this to be a home that is going to, fit your needs for a long time or an extended, period of time, then you're going to want to look into, really look at the space. Do you need a loft? Will that be better once the kiddos get older so that they have a place to go play games, hang out with friends, watch the movies they want to watch, and it doesn't disrupt you and what you're doing? Maybe it's far away from your home office so that you can still work from home, but the kiddos have their own space. You definitely want to look for that, and you definitely want to keep an eye on storage space, guys, because I can tell you, kids, they add to your stuff. And it's really helpful to have some extra spaces that you can stick some storage items, whether that be, clothes that they've outgrown that you're saving for the next kiddo to come along, or all of the wonderful holiday decorations that you find yourself buying because kids have so much fun decorating. So keep an eye on that stuff, guys. Those are my tips for today. Hopefully that helps you. Again, if you are a family or a budding family and you are in the Arizona area or Phoenix, Arizona area, Greater Phoenix, we're valley-wide, definitely reach out to us. We work with families all the time, and we have lots of resources for our families. We are at Team EvoAZ across our social platforms. Also check out our YouTube channel at Team EvoAZ for a ton more information on real estate do's and don'ts, tips and tricks, things you should look out for, as well as our monthly market update. If you are more of the podcast type, maybe you hike a lot, drive a lot, bike a lot, then you can check us out over on your favorite podcast platform and do a quick search for Arizona Real Estate Radio. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.